This is Christopher Moldong of Chris's Storytelling Corner. Today I'm going to do a movie review for Deadpool 2. Next time I'll have a manga review for Skip Beat Volumes 23 and 24 and a movie review for Solo, a Star Wars movie. Check out my Twitter page and the author's Facebook page. Links to all these will be provided on the description. I'd really like to hear from you guys as well, so leave any comments and make sure to subscribe and share this channel as well. So the way that this is going to work is that I'm going to give a detailed recap of Deadpool 2. So I will be giving out spoilers. If you have not watched the movie and you don't want the spoilers, best not listen to this at this time. Otherwise, after I give the recap, I will give my thoughts on the movie as well. As far as an initial grade, I'd actually give it like an A minus. There are just a few things about it that doesn't make it a total A. But it was a really fun movie, and I'd recommend watching it. If you're a fan of Deadpool, you'll like this movie. Especially if you're a fan of the first one, you'll like this one. I personally liked the first one just a little better. I thought it was a little better, or I thought the first one was a little better, but this one's still good. So let's recap Deadpool 2. So, after successfully working as the mercenary Deadpool for 2 years, Wade Wilson fails to kill one of his targets on his anniversary with his girlfriend Vanessa. That night, after the two decide to start a family together, the target tracks him down and kills Vanessa, and then Wilson kills the man in revenge but blames himself for her death, so he attempts to commit suicide 6 weeks later by blowing himself up. Wilson has a vision of Vanessa in the afterlife, but the pieces of his body from the explosion remain alive and are put back together by Colossus. Wilson is left with only a skee ball token, which was an anniversary gift as a final memento of Vanessa. Recovering at the X Mansion, Wilson agrees to join the X-Men as a form of healing. He, Colossus, and Negasonic Teenage Warhead respond to a standoff between authorities and this unstable young mutant named Russell Collins, also known as Fire Fist, also known in the comics as Rusty, at an orphanage which is labeled a mutant re-education center. Wilson realizes that Collins has been abused by the orphanage staff and kills one of the staff members. Colossus stops him from killing anyone else, and both Wilson and Collins are arrested. They get restrained with collars that negate their powers, and they're taken to the Icebox, which is an isolated prison for mutant criminals. Meanwhile, a cybernetic soldier from the future, Cable, whose family Collins murdered in the future, travels back in time to terminate Collins before he can ever become a killer. Cable breaks into the icebox and attacks Collins, but Wilson, whose collar was broken in the melee, attempts to defend him, but Cable defeats Wilson and takes Vanessa's token. Wilson forces himself and Cable out of the prison, but not before Collins overhears Wilson denying that he ever cared for him. So, near death again, Wilson has another vision of Vanessa in which she convinces him to help Collins. Wilson organizes a team of mutants he calls X-Force to break Collins out of a prison transfer convoy and defend him from Cable. The team launches its assault on the convoy by parachuting from a plane, even though they are told that the winds are really bad. So all of the team members, except for Wilson and Domino, whose power is luck, die in the landing. While Domino and Wilson, who's right now Deadpool, uh, fight Cable, Collins frees fellow inmate the Juggernaut, who repays Collins by agreeing to help him kill the abusive orphanage headmaster. Juggernaut destroys a truck he and Collins are in, and they escape. Cable offers to work with Deadpool and Domino to stop Collins' first kill, which would lead to more kills. He agrees to give Deadpool a chance to talk Collins down before attempting to kill the boy again. They arrive at the orphanage and are overpowered by the Juggernaut, while Collins attacks the headmaster. Colossus, though, who at first refused to help Wilson due to Wilson's murderous ways, arrives and distracts Juggernaut long enough for Wilson and or for Deadpool and Cable to confront Collins. After Deadpool appears to fail in talking down Collins, Cable shoots at him, but Wilson leaps in front of the bullet and dies, similar to like the bodyguard, reuniting with Vanessa in the afterlife. Seeing this sacrifice on his behalf, Collins does not kill the headmaster, and it changes the future. Now, Cable's family survives. Cable uses the last charge of his time traveling device, which is he needed for returning to his family, to go back several minutes and strap Vanessa's token in front of Deadpool's heart before they arrive at the orphanage. This time, when Deadpool leaps in front of the bullet, it is stopped by the token and he survives. Collins still has his change of heart, while the headmaster is run over by Deadpool's taxi driver friend Dopinder. So we're now in the mid credit. That's pretty much the end of the movie. So what happens in the mid credit sequence is that Negasonic Teenage Warhead and her girlfriend Yukio repair Cable's time traveling device for Deadpool. He uses it to save the lives of Vanessa and X Force member Peter, possibly the other ones as well. He kills X Men Origins Wolverine's version of Deadpool, and then kills actor Ryan Reynolds while he is considering starring in the film Green Lantern. So, uh, before we get into my thoughts on the movie, I'd like to plug my author's website at www.chrismaldon.com, and you can read a new blog post every week on there. Also, do you like action, adventure, fantasy, quirky characters, crazy worlds? Then buy my book, The Mustard Prince in the Condiment Kingdom, for just $4.99 via ebook on Amazon.com or on my author's website. Links to buy it will be provided on the page description. Please also subscribe to this channel, as that would really help me out as well. So, some thoughts. Let's get to Deadpool, played by Ryan Reynolds. If you like Deadpool in the first one, you'll like him in this one. He still has that self-deprecating humor, a lot of pop culture references, real sarcastic, witty, gross at times. Pretty much everything you expect from Deadpool, the comedy and the action, um, it is all there. Ryan Reynolds plays the role really well. He just has that snarkiness, that like personality that Deadpool has, where he's a bit like, he plays a good anti-hero. It'd be very interesting to see how Deadpool works out, though. If there's gonna have a Deadpool 3, X Force is gonna come out, so we'll see where Deadpool's like role moving forward is gonna go pretty much. I think this is he's a Fox property. I don't think he's gonna get scooped up by like Disney slash Marvel. So it looks like Deadpool and X Force are probably gonna do their own thing. Speaking of X Force, the known leader of X Force, Cable, is played by Josh Brolin. Josh Brolin was also Thanos, and yes, they did refer to that in the movie. He's pretty much what I expect from him. He has the arm, the eye, the gruff exterior, no nonsense. He has the gun. Um, I've actually read that Cable is supposed to be an Omega level mutant, but he's a son. They don't make mention of it, but he's a son of Scott Summers and a clone of Jean Grey. It's not Jean Grey. It was like a clone of Jean Grey whose name I forgot. Um, and then the thing with they don't mention that though in this movie. They just stick with Cable having a family in the future. He's from the future. You kind of know that the future's messed up, but you don't know much else about Cable at this point. He's also stuck in this time now, technically, because Negasonic Teenage Warhead did fix the time travel device. So gonna we'll see. Well, Cable's probably gonna come back if indeed they go through with the X Force movie, which I heard is gonna happen. So it's gonna be kind of interesting to see how it all works. Cable is definitely a no nonsense type guy, and Josh Brolin really played that well. Tough, gruff, no nonsense. Vanessa was in the movie. She was more of an ethereal figure in this movie. She dies early, but it's interesting that she does come back at the mid credits. What that means, maybe in the next Deadpool slash X Force, maybe Deadpool's a dad. We don't know yet. Most likely, I would actually think he will be. Vanessa's actually has a copycat power or something to that nature. She's not just like a normal human. I don't know if they're gonna go there though. I think right now it just seems like she's the love interest. She's back, so that should be kind of interesting. We got to see Russell Collins, who's Fire Fist, also known as Rusty. Rusty was he's just kind of one of those pretty anonymous. He was an X-Man, but he's just kind of anonymous. No one actually remembers him. What? I forget if he dies or not in the comics. I think he does. He's actually played really well here. He's just kind of funny. Um, One of my problems though with Rusty, and this is actually the big problem with the whole movie. Well, there's two different problems. One, Firefist is just too powerful. A lot, I'm just yeah, he has the Firefist power, but man, I mean, the kid had like nuclear bombs or something. I mean, they were just his power was just too strong. I mean, he shouldn't be any more stronger than like Pyro, you know? Like, so it's like I just don't see how he's like beating up Cable and Deadpool at the same time. With his fighting ability isn't that great, and they made his power just so destructive. I guess they kind of had to, uh, but I did like um, how he was played. He was just really funny with the pen and whatnot. Uh, the other thing is too one of the biggest problems with the movie and why it got the minus for me was that he was one out of like four villains, and this was the biggest problem with Deadpool, in my opinion, was that there were like four villains. There's the Juggernaut, Cable, Russell Collins, and the headmaster of the orphanage. And it's like they didn't have one set defined antagonist, and I think that kind of hurt the movie in a sense. Um, the plot does seems a bit scatterbrained, or a bit scattered in a sense. It's kind of a redemption story, kind of not, but it doesn't really hit that like big emotional impact note at the end, or it was just it kind of began. It's funny, and at the end it was just kind of funny, but like I don't know if we really hit that big payoff at the end. Unlike in the first one, where it's just kind of like Deadpool gets together with Vanessa at the very end, even though she thought that he died. And here, yeah, I mean, she did get to come back to life, which was kind of nice. But otherwise, I don't know if we got the huge payoff. Domino. I liked her. I was very curious to see how they'd utilize her power. She does have fighting ability too, but her power of luck actually really came into play here, and it showed well in the theater. She's played by Zazie Beetz. Very interesting to see how she'll work into X Force. Presumably, the next movie is probably going to be X Force. So you have Cable, Domino, Warpath. I think it's Warpath, right? You're supposed to also have Guido and like Feral. Who else was it? Shatterstar, who presumably died, and some of the other guys who died are all supposed to be a part of X Force. So it's going to be really interesting. I liked Domino. She was actually quite a standout character here. Um, she was just kind of cool. She had the luck power, confident and whatnot. Weasel was, Deadpool's best friend, was kind of like the same guy. Kind of cowardly. He's this cowardly guy with a bunch of like, who hangs out with a bunch of like really strong people, you know? And he played that role well. Colossus, kind of the same guy as the last time, very virtuous, trying to get Deadpool to join the X-Men to be a more virtuous person and whatnot. Not much change with Colossus. Technically speaking, he should not be able to beat the Juggernaut. Juggernaut is immensely stronger than Colossus, um, to my knowledge. Yeah, yeah, Juggernaut is. And the other thing with the Juggernaut too is like he's not just the helmet. He's supposed to have like a whole body armor that is connected to, and he has this armor because of a crystal. It's not just like he has like this strong helmet. So it's kind of weird how like Juggernaut was presented here because he was super strong and it's cool to see Juggernaut. I thought he looked really cool, you know, but like him just wearing pants and not like to have the whole suit was kind of weird to me. Like that was the other thing too. Got to briefly see Black Tom Cassidy. I think he dies. I'm not too sure, because I think he actually teams with Juggernaut um, in the comics, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, yeah, he teams with Juggernaut in the comics. He didn't have too much of a role in the movie, unfortunately. Same with like Negasonic Teenage Warhead. She was just kind of there. She was kind of this like cool character in the first one. Cool, silent, calm type. Um, this time it's like she's kind of there. Everyone, like she's there around the beginning and then near the end. And now she has a girlfriend named Yukio, who's like this cute Japanese girl who has some fighting ability as well. I mean, she's there to fix the time traveling device, but otherwise, she wasn't as prevalent as she was in the last one. You know, the overall plot was, like I said, it wasn't as strong as like it's like a redemption plot. I assume, it, and I don't think the payoff really got there, unless you count the mid credits, which are awesome. I mean, that was like the movie. I mean, the movie was good, but the mid credit stuff was like the best stuff that they had. Um, it should be interesting how, if they worked the time traveling thing in here. Um, One thing is, with the time traveling, it looks like that Deadpool saved Peter, but I kind of wonder if he, off screen saved Shatterstar, um, Bedlam. Is it Bedlam? Right? The Vanisher and whatnot. Speaking of the Vanisher was indeed Brad Pitt, and one of the rednecks that was blasted by Cable was Matt Damon. So that was pretty fun. There were a lot of Easter eggs. You got to see a bit of the X Men there. A lot of just references to other like Marvel comics and whatnot, and just pop culture references in general. Uh, you know, as far as like the bigger narrative here, does some of the X Force characters come back to life besides Peter? I would have thought Shatterstar. Shatterstar was one of the more well-known X Force characters. So I was actually a bit surprised that he died so early. Um, so I would assume that these guys are gonna come back for the next movie. At least some of them will. But what does this mean for a future X Force movie? We know Cable's around, Domino's there, maybe Deadpool's gonna be around too. They can go a lot of directions with this, really. I mean, if they have the time traveling thing going on, they can do that. If you want to go with Strife, that'd be kind of cool if they brought in Strife. as the first villain of X Force, which is like Cable's brother. No, Cable's clone. If they go with Strife, that'd be really interesting. Um, I actually think that's probably the best direction to go. Actually, now that I think about it, to go with Strife first, and then see who else they can fight. I mean, you can bring in like Omega Red, bring back the Juggernaut, if you want to go there as well. So it'll be interesting. I don't know. I wonder if a standalone X Force movie will be how well it will do. It's been long overdue, honestly. I was kind of wondering if they're ever going to bring in X Force movie, especially now that they have cable. I mean, you know, they can definitely go there. Um, there are other teams out there. There's X Factor, um, Excalibur, and who's that team? There's that team in Canada. I don't think they'll bring those guys in yet. But yeah, the reason why I bring up X Force, besides the fact that they're in this movie, is that like, I kind of wonder if that's where Deadpool is going next. If they're going to go Deadpool 3, or if Deadpool is now going to be a part of the X Force. And so we'll get a new mutant group there going on there. Um, Otherwise, like I said, fun movie. Not as good as the first one. I was talking to my brother about this actually, who saw the movie, and he actually thought some of the jokes were a bit forced. I tend to agree. Some of it was a bit forced. Some of it was a little too much like the first one, but otherwise it was still really funny. Like I said, I think it kind of got hurt by no definitive villain. There are like four villains here, which I don't think was a good idea. I think they should have had just one. I believe Black Tom Cassidy was actually supposed to be the major villain of this movie, but I guess they decided against that. Otherwise, fun movie. I would recommend it. If you like Deadpool, you'll like this movie. Um, Brolin is real good as Cable. I like Domino as well. So, yeah, check it out. So that's all for today. If you like this, don't forget to subscribe, share, and comment to this channel. Thank you for listening to this movie review. Next time, I will have a manga review for Skip Beat Volumes 23 and 24, and a movie review for Solo, a Star Wars movie. Thank you, and until next time.